Next on the Gospel Bill Show.
Hey, GB. It's me, Nicodemus. Come on in here. Do you recognize me? That disguise looks great. Old Bedloe will never know who you are.
It's the Gospel Bill Show, featuring Gospel Bill, Nicodemus, Bartimaeus, Miss Lana, T.U. Tuckwater, and the entire Dry Gulch Gang.
Tom Sullivan. You sure are acting fishy. What's that you got there behind your back?
Just my shirt, Sheriff.
No, you got something in your hand. Now, come on, what do you got there? What's that behind your back?
Just a little liquid refreshment. It's awfully hot today.
Let me see that. Now, come on here, let me have a look at it. That's more than just a little bit of liquid refreshment, Tom. That's moonshine whiskey. Where'd you get a hold of this stuff? Why do you have this?
It's awfully hot and I need something to quench my thirst.
Tom, I'm ashamed at you. That's the whole reason you moved to Dry Gulch County, was to get away from the booze. You hadn't had a drink in better than 10 years, Tom. You know what I'm gonna have to do. I gotta take you to jail for this. It's against the law. Now come on with me. I sure hate to see you get like this again. Now step right on in here, Tom. And just help yourself right over there to the jail cell.
Sheriff, I can't get in. These bars are in the way.
Well, that's because you're on the wrong side of the door. Now just step right around here and you'll be able to make it in just fine. Now, Tom, I hate to see you like this. I mean, you hadn't been drinking in years, and look at you now. I want you to tell me something. Where did you get a hold of this liquor?
I promised I would not tell.
Now, listen. This doesn't do any good for you. It'll mess up your whole life. I thought you quit it. Why did you get back into this?
It's the devil water, Sheriff. I can't help it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Whether you tell me or not, I'm gonna find out where this liquor's coming from.
Gospel Bill, you better get downtown right away. There's a couple of drovers down there getting ready to shoot at the town.
Well, whatever for?
Well, I reckon it's because they're drunk.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They're not the only ones that are drunk. I got the same problem here with old Tom. And I can't figure it out, Nicodemus. He hadn't had anything to drink in 10 years. Well, listen, keep an eye on him and I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure will. Sure will do. You gotta watch these drunk varmints. Now, I'm warning you, Tom. Don't you make any sudden moves.
Whatever you guys say.
I ain't had a drink like that in years.
Well, I'm tired of eating trail dust. I'm ready for some fun.
Me too. Hey, I know. Let's have ourselves a dance.
Women!
Yeah!
We need some women!
I ain't seen no women. I seen his horses and cows.
Well, I tell you what, if I don't see something soon, I'm just gonna have some target practice around here.
That'd be good.
Howdy there, fellas. Need to have a little talk with you.
Wait a minute, Sheriff. Don't go messing with us.
Now, hold on just a minute, fellas. Now, listen here. You guys have had a little bit too much to drink, and we got a law against that here in Dry Gulch. Now, 7 years ago, the citizens voted to keep this county dry, so I reckon I'm going to have to take you to jail.
Wait a minute, Sheriff. There's two of us and there's only one of you.
Well, I know that, fellas, but you gotta understand something. There's no way that a drunk man can ever get the drop on a sober man. So you hold her right there. Now, real slow and easy like, I want you to drop those guns to the ground. Real careful like. There you go. Now, the jail is just right down that street. Now, if you will walk right down that way, I'll show you where it is. All right, come on.
The Gospel Bill Show continues after this.
Let's go to the farm for a visit with one of man's best friends, the horse. There are over 60 breeds of horses. And as you can see, they come in many shapes and colors and sizes. Some horses are great for pulling heavy loads. Others can run very fast. And this guy doesn't get into a hurry about anything. Horses have feet that give it the ability to walk or run over many kinds of ground. Its legs are very, very strong. Why, the strongest man in all the world doesn't even come close to the strength of a horse. This horse might even be strong enough to hold up my sister, Jeannie Mae.
I heard that.
Kids love a certain kind of horse. He's called a pony. But not all horses are for kids. Horses have been used by man for thousands of years. Without them, man would never have been able to do all the things he has done. Horses have been used to pull chariots and wagons and even plows. After all this hard work, horses can really build up an appetite. Hey, bud, come on over. Here's a golden delicious apple just for you. What do you mean you don't want it? Oh, I get it. I don't blame you. You don't want to eat this apple because Jeannie touched it. Horses eat grass, hay, oats, and pizza. Pizza? Horses don't eat pizza. Who wrote this script?
I did.
Jeannie, horses don't eat pizza.
Well, I fed pizza to Uncle Bert's horse.
That wasn't a horse, it was a goat. Now, horses are intelligent animals, and they love to play. They can even be taught to do tricks, but they hold a special place in man's heart because they're hard workers. They know how to do a job well. So, take a tip from the horse. Be a hard worker, but don't eat hay. The straw will turn your teeth yellow.
Right on down this way, fellers. It's the first door on your left. Right here. Yeah. Now just stand right over there by that door.
But, Gospel Bill, it's them. I recognize them. It's the fellers. How did you know which ones they were?
They're the only ones who were drunk, Nicodemus. Step right in here. Hey, listen, bud. Where did you get all this liquor?
Well, I'm sorry, Sheriff, but if I was to tell you that, I couldn't buy any more.
Well, you step right in here till you dry out. Nicodemus, there is liquor all over Dry Gulch. I don't know where these fellas are getting it, but I'm gonna find out what the deal is. Now listen, I'm gonna nose around over the general store and see what I can find out. In the meanwhile, you keep an eye on these guys.
Okay, you can count on me, Gospel Bill. Yeah. It's probably been a while since you fellers heard some good preaching from the good book, so you're gonna hear some right about now.
Howdy, Miss Lana.
Well, hi, Sheriff.
I need to talk with you for a second. Listen, I know you visit with some of the ladies and all, and you hadn't heard any rumors about somebody peddling moonshine whiskey around Dry Gulch, have you?
Well, no, I sure haven't, but, you know, come to think about it, my nephew sure has been acting strange.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, he's been coming in late at night and stumbling around, and that's just not like him.
Well, now, you don't suppose he's got a little drinking problem, do you?
Well, I didn't think he did, but it's possible.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's liquor flowing in Dry Gulch. Now, this morning, I walk outside here, and old Tom Sullivan is just as drunk as he could be. Why, that's the whole reason he moved to Dry Gulch, was to get away from all the liquor. He hadn't been drinking in years, and now all of a sudden he turns up drunk. Well, he's not the only one. The next thing you know, a couple of cowboys are out ready to shoot up the town just as drunk as they can be. Now, I don't know who it is, but somebody is selling moonshine whiskey around this county.
You know, we haven't had a drinking problem in this county since we voted it dry.
Well, that's the way it's going to stay, because if the folks of this county want no liquor here, then that's the way I'm going to keep it. And if you hear anything about this, be sure and let me know. And if your nephew gives you any more trouble and you think he's been drinking, holler at me. I'll do my best to help him out.
I sure will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
White man, Chief.
Well, I know you. You're Chief Tallbull's son. Your name is,
Buffalo Hump.
Buffalo Hump. Well, how's everything at the reservation?
Chief, big trouble.
Well, now, what's wrong?
White man come to reservation, he sell firewater to Brave. Brave get drunk, he shoot Chief's horse. He think it buffalo.
Well, now, that doesn't sound good at all. Well, now, this fella who's been selling whiskey to the Indians, what does he look like?
We call one eye.
He has one eye?
One eye.
I think I know who you're talking about. Buffalo Hump, you tell your father that I'm going to take care of this problem and I'll get rid of that whiskey peddler. Don't worry about him anymore.
Why don't you fellers know what the Bible says about drinking? Why, it says in the book of Proverbs that wine is a mocker and whiskey will make you stupid. You want to do stupid things the rest of your life? Wait a minute, fellas, you don't have to kneel yet. I hadn't got to the praying part yet.
What's going on here, Nicodemus?
Gospel Bill, now wait a minute. Don't interrupt me. I'm right in the middle of my altar call.
Now listen, those guys are not going to listen to you. They're stone drunk. Now, wait till they sober up and then you can talk to them. Now sit down here. Okay. I think I found out who's peddling whiskey here in Dry Gulch.
You found out who's peddling whiskey?
Would you be quiet? Now settle down. Luther Bedloe is selling booze around this part of the country now.
Bedloe? How'd you find that out?
Well, an Indian rode into town a while ago and told me that Bedloe had been selling whiskey to the Braves out on the reservation.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Well, I hadn't got that figured out just yet, but I'll tell you what, for the last thing I do, I'm going to stop Bedloe.
Gospel Bill, it's my nephew. He's stumbling around all downtown. He's stone drunk.
All right, Miss Lynn, I'll go have a talk with him. And meanwhile, you keep an eye on these guys, and if you can think of anything to help me, I'd appreciate it. I'll be back in a minute. Michael, I've been talking with your Aunt Lana, and she sure is concerned about you.
Who, me? There's nothing wrong with me.
Now, hold on just a minute. Don't go try to pull that on me. I know you've been into the moonshine whiskey.
Oh, how'd you know?
Well, it's not hard to tell. I can smell it all over you for one thing, and by the way you're just acting, I can look at you and tell you've been into moonshine. Now listen, son, this isn't going to do you one bit of good. It's going to hurt you, and I know it doesn't look like that now. You probably think you're having a lot of fun, and it is fun for just a little bit, but I want to tell you, the scripture says the wages of sin is death. That means that when you start getting into things that are wrong, it'll tear up your life. Now, I wish I could just take you up to Silver City sometime and show you some of these old fellers that have been drinking all their lives. They lose everything they got. They lose their families. They lose everything. I'll tell you what, this is not what you want to get into. Nicodemus?
Yeah?
I figured out what we're going to do about Bedloe.
What are we going to do?
We got to catch him in the act of selling that whiskey to one of us.
Yeah. But Gospel Bill, I don't think he's going to sell you any whiskey.
Well, I know he won't sell me any whiskey. But if I can get you to go undercover, Nicodemus, I think we can catch him.
Yeah, but if I'm under the cover, how's he going to sell me any whiskey?
I don't mean get under the covers. What I mean is we've got to get you in disguise so he won't know who you are. You buy whiskey from him, and then we can arrest him.
Oh, you mean kind of like incognito?
Incognito. Yeah, that's right. Now get over to the general store. Miss Lana's waiting for you there with your costume.
Oh, right now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. But wait a minute, Gospel Bill. If I have on a disguise, how are you going to know who I am?
You can tell me who you are. Now go on over there. Hurry up. We got to make it quick.
I've done it again. Luther Bedloe, you are a genius.
Why, this'll be the best stunt I've ever pulled. Yeah! I'll make more money with my moonshine whiskey than anything I've ever done before. I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner. Why, folks in this county would do pretty near anything to get a drink. And every trail drive that comes through this part of the country will have to get into my moonshine whiskey. I'm the only one in this whole county who dares to sell anything. And I'd like to see that sheriff try and stop me. He'll never find my whiskey still.
Hey, GB. It's me, Nicodemus.
Come on in here, Nicodemus.
Did you recognize me?
Oh, that's a great disguise. Bedloe will never guess at you in a million years.
You're right.
All right, now put this in your pocket. You're going to need it.
All right.
All right. Now I'm going to put this on the inside of your coat. All right. Now listen very carefully. All right. You must get Bedloe to give you the liquor. You've got to get it in your hands.
Okay.
All right? Then you take the money and you pay him.
Pay the money.
All right. As soon as he takes that money, you pull out your gun, open up your coat, show him who you are, and make the arrest.
Gotcha. Okay. But wait a minute, Gospel Bill. How am I going to find Bedloe?
Well, I got a pretty good idea that old Tom will lead us right to him. Now, listen. Old Tom's just about sobered up. He's probably thirsty for another drink of that moonshine. I'll let him out of jail. You follow him from a few feet away, and he'll lead you right to old Luther.
I got you.
Tom, I think you're pretty well dried out now, so I'm going to let you go on back home, all right? And you behave yourself. If you know what's good for you, you leave that liquor alone. Nicodemus, go ahead. I'm sure glad old Charlie's on vacation back east. This gives me the perfect place to run my bootlegging operation. Well, Tom, what can I do for you?
Mr. Bedloe, I need a drink bad.
Well, you know what the drink costs. Have you got your $10?
I don't have any money, Mr. Bedloe.
Well, now, Tom, you know I can't help you out unless you got money. I mean, it costs me money to make this moonshine whiskey.
I really need some of the drink bad.
Well, have you got anything else of value?
Got this silver watch.
Here, let me see that. How old is this?
It's 50 years old.
Well, I reckon it's worth a little jug. Not a big one, a little one. And I'll be right back. Well, here you go, Tom. It's a pleasure doing business with you.
Thanks, Mr.
Looky here. I bet I can get $50, $60 for this.
Well, if this ain't the beatin'est town I ever saw.
Well, now, wait a minute. Don't I know you from somewhere before?
Well, you ever been to Kansas City?
Why, sure, lots of times. Hey, you must be one of them wealthy cattle buyers from Kansas City. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You said one thing, right? This town sure enough ain't like Kansas City.
Well, boy, you can sure say that again. I've been looking all day for some whiskey, and I ain't found a drop yet.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You just got to know where to look, and you've come to the right place.
I have?
Why, certainly. Now, how much of this whiskey would you be interested in?
Well, I reckon I need enough for me and one or two friends.
Well, I'll tell you what. You got $50, I believe I can fix you up.
$50?
Yeah.
Well, I reckon I got $50.
Hold on, I'll be right back. Mister, this is genuine Kentucky corn liquor.
Much obliged, sir.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure doing business with you. The name is Luther Bedloe.
Well, my name is Nicodemus, Deputy Sheriff for Gospelville, and you, Mr. Bedloe, are under arrest.
Why, you dirty rat!
Miss Lana, it's the best coffee I ever had.
Well, thank you, Nicodemus.
I'll tell you what, you can tell Gospelville ain't been anywhere near this here coffee.
What was that?
Oh, howdy, Gospelville. Gospelville, did you find that still out at Bedloe's place?
Well, I sure did, and I smashed it to smithereens.
Where do you have it hidden?
He had his operation set up in this little draw about 200 or 300 yards out behind his house. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Bedloe is now officially out of the moonshine business.
Well, good. That takes care of all of our liquor problems here in Dry Gulch.
Well, I wish that were true, Nicodemus, but I'm afraid it's not. As long as folks around here still want liquor, they'll figure out a way to get it. I guess the only way to really ever stop the liquor problem is for everybody just to learn how to say no. You know, sooner or later, you may be faced with the temptation to drink alcohol. And you've got to make a decision about what you're going to do. I'll tell you right now, it's fun for a little while. The Bible says there's pleasure in sin for a short time. But sin always comes back to hurt you. Alcohol destroys your brain cells. It impairs your ability to think. And then sooner or later, if you continue to use it, it'll destroy every part of your life. So I'm going to tell you right now, the best thing you can do is to make up your mind before the temptation ever comes. When someone says, how about a drink? Why don't you say no? You save yourself a whole lot of trouble.
Just forget all those things around you and sing sweet praises to Him. You will usher in the presence of God, and He will meet all of your needs. Just forget all those things around you and sing sweet praises to Him. You will usher in the presence of God, and He will meet all of your needs. Forget all those things around you and sing sweet praises to Him. You will usher in the presence of God, and He will meet all of your needs. If you'll forget all those things around you and just sing sweet praises to Him, you will usher in the presence of God, and He will meet all of your needs. To Him. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing praise to your name, oh Lord, Most High. I will praise you, oh Lord, with my whole heart. I will sing of all your marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in you. I will sing praise to your name, oh